Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel and another Flutter tutorial. As you can see in the video, I intended to implement a switch shop application. In this video, which is the first in the playlist for implementing this application, I will implement the splash screen, home screen, special offers screen, and categories screen. The pages you see are part of a larger project, and I will implement other sections of this application in future videos. Let's implement the design of this application together. As you can see in the video, I created an empty project and then exported the icons and images from Figma and added them to the project. I also included them in the pubspec.yaml file, and I'm using the FlutterGem package to manage assets. You can use this package or directly reference the files. Additionally, you can see the other package I've added the project and I will use later. Then I added several classes and files needed for the project, which I will show you one by one. The first folder I want to talk about is the theme folder. In this folder, I created files for colors, dimensions, typography, and the project theme using the Figma style section as a reference. Let's start by discussing the typography class. I created a class named Typography that inherits from the theme extension class. And as you can see in the video, I implemented this structure according to the Flutter documentation. You can use this structure or any other you prefer. Now let's talk about the dimensions class. As seen in Figma, I created a class for dimensions and spacing based on the style section and added it to the project for later use. Next, let's discuss the project colors. I created a class named app colors that inherits from theme extensions and added the color codes from the Figma project to this class for future use. I use the exact colors from Figma. Now let's talk about the theme file. As you can see in the video, I created a class for the project theme in this file, which manages the overall theme of the project. The color and typography classes are used within this class. At the end of this file, I wrote a few extension classes to make accessing colors and typography easier throughout the project. The first extension is for easier access to colors, the second for fonts, and the last for easier access to the theme class itself. Now let's talk about the utils folder. The first file in this folder is App Navigator, which is used for navigating between pages. The next file checks the size of the device running the app, and we will use its method to manage the app's display on different screen sizes. And another file checks the platform the app is running on. And the last file is an extension on build context to simplify accessing media query.of context. Now let's talk about the widgets folder. The first file here is app scaffold, which is essentially Flutter's internal scaffold, but includes a safe area widget and limits the app's width on larger screens. The next file is app.svg viewer, which uses the Flutter SVG package to display SVG files. And finally, let's take a look at the main file of the project. As you can see, the theme file we created is imported and used in this file. Now let's implement the splash screen. Before implementing this screen, I should mention that since this is an educational project, I'll create this screen using Flutter classes and call it in the main file. However, it's better to use native Splash screen implementations like Flutter native Splash package for production. Now I go back to the Splash screen file and call the color class we created earlier in the build method. And then I set the page background color to match the Figma design, and then set the default padding of app scaffold to 0. And I disable in the safe area top parameter. Next, I add a column widget and place the splash screen image I added earlier and adjust them their sizes. The condition you see here ensure the image display smaller on smaller devices. Now I reload the project and you can see the result. And I set main axis alignment parameter to space between to improve the design. Now I'll create a home screen in the screens folder. I import the material package and create a stateless class and then call the app scaffold widget. Next, I go back to the splash screen, call the initState method, and inside it, I add a timer to navigate to the home screen after 1.5 seconds. I call app push replacement method and home screen. And now I rerun the project, and you will see the splash screen first, followed by navigation to the home screen. I rerun again. Now let's start implementing the home screen. As you can see, I've added a bottom navigation bar identical to the Figma design with items matching those in Figma. In the widgets folder under the tabs subfolder, I've created 5 empty classes, which we will implement later in this playlist. For managing item selection, I've used Cubit, and you can use this state management or any other you prefer. And as you can see in the video, I've called the required variables and implemented the bottom navigation bar code, styling and spacing it exactly like the Figma design. Now let's implement the app bar at the top of the home screen. In the widgets directory, I create a new file named home app bar. I import the material package and create a stateless class implementing preferred size widget. I'll override the required method and customize it as needed. Size.fromHeight. I called appbar widget, and from appbar preferred size dot height plus 80. Next, I add a column widget and call the appbar widget inside it, along with the project's color class. Setting the appbar's background color to the project's primary color. Final color is equal to context.theme.color.appColors, and appbar's background color is equal to project's primary color. Referring to the Figma design, we need a widget for the app's icon buttons. In general widgets folder, I create a new file and add a class named app icon button with styling matching Figma. Then I go back to the home app bar, and I call the class I created in the actions parameter, and then passing the required icon. And then in the title parameter, I add a row widget, adjust its spacing, and place the app icon button with the location icon inside it. Then I add a column widget and adjust its spacing and set cross-axis alignment to start. And then add the relevant text, styling them as well. Now I'll go back to the home class and at the app bar I just created. And then I'm ensuring it's only displayed at index 0. I reload the project and you can see the result. As you can see, we need to adjust the spacing. So I'll do that and reload the project again. Leading width is equal to 85. Title spacing is equal to dimensions.padding, and actions padding is equal to edge insets dot symmetric. Horizontal is equal to large padding. I reload the project again, and now the issue is resolved. Alright, now let's implement the search bar and the section below the app bar. I create a new file named app search bar, and inside it add a stateless class for the search bar designed like Figma, with a text field for searching. Next, I'll go back to the home app bar and inside it add a stack widget. And inside it, I add a container widget, set its height and make its width match with the screen width, and styling it as needed. Then I add a padding widget and adjust its top, left, and right spacing. And then I place the search widget inside it. I reload the project and you can see the result. Now let's implement the special offers section. First, I'll add a text button widget for the See All button in the General Widgets folder. Then I create another widget for titles. And inside it, I add a stateless class and include the required parameters. Now inside build method, I add a horizontal padding, and inside it, a row widget to display the title and style it. Next, I call the text button widget I just created and setting its title and icon. And now I go back to the Home tab, add a scroll widget, and inside it, add a column widget. And now I call the class I just created and setting the unpressed and title parameters. I reload the project and you can see the result. Now let's implement the slider banner section. First, I go to the pubspec.yaml file where you can see I've added two packages for sliders and indicators, which I'll use for this section. To implement this widget, I'll first add a Cubit class and a state class to manage the current slide index. Next, I'll create a new file named banner slider widget inside a widgets folder. And inside it, I add the required classes, calling and providing the Cubit. And now I add a column widget and call the carousel slider widget inside it and pass in the controller. And now, as you can see in the video, I implement the items section using sample data for the banner image. Then I'll configure the carousel options according to the Figma design and implementing the on-page changed parameter. And inside it, I call on-page change method from my Cubit class. Now let's implement the indicator. First, I call the animated smooth indicator widget, set its active index, and set the count parameter to the length of the banners. I also configure the effect parameter to match Figma. Now I go back to Home tab and call the widget I just created. I reload the project and you can see the result. As you can see, we need to adjust the spacing, so I'll do that and reload the project again. Now the issue is resolved. Very well, now let's implement the categories section. First, I can use the title widget and set its title parameter according to Figma. Then inside widgets folder, I create a new file for the categories list. Import the material package and create a stateless class. Inside build method, I call the project's color class, and then I place a size box widget, adjusting its height, and inside it, I place a list view.builder widget and set its item count parameter equal to the length of the category titles list. Then I configure the other necessary parameters to have a horizontal list. Shrink wrap true and scroll direction to axis dot horizontal. Now I start implementing the item builder parameter. First, I place a column widget and adjust its spacing. Then, as seen in the video, I'll add a container widget with dimensions and styling similar to Figma. Inside it, I'll place a center widget and display the image related to the categories within this widget. And now I use a text widget to display the titles of the categories. And now I return to the Home tab, import the widget I just created, and reload the project so you can see the result. Very well. Now let's implement the products list for the home page. For this, I create a new file, named it products list, import the material package, and create a stateless class. Inside the build method, I place a list view and start implementing its item builder parameter. I place a column widget and set its cross-axis alignment to start. Inside it, I first call the title widget we previously created. As you can see in the video, the list of titles also comes from the sample data file. Now I place a size box widget, adjust its height parameter, and again place a horizontal list inside it, and starting to implement this list. I set a left padding using a padding widget and place a size box inside it. Then I add a stack widget, and now I set its alignment to bottom center. And as you can see in the video, add the required image for the products inside it. Now I will place a column widget and adjust its alignment parameters. And inside it, I will place a container and set its height and width, margin, and decoration. I intended to use this container to display the product's rating. As you can see in the video, this rating widget is implemented in a various part of the project. So I will create a general widget for displaying products rating to use it in different sections. Inside widgets folder, I create a new file called rate widget and add a stateless class inside it. Now I return to the products list file and call the widget I just created for rating in this file and using it. Next, I place another container widget and set its height, width, and decoration. Inside it, I display the product name and then style it. Now I return to the Home tab, import the widget I just created, and reload the project so you can see the result. As you can see, we need to improve the spacing, so I'll do that. I reload the project again, and you can see the final result of this page. Now let's implement the special offers page together. First, for the back to previous page icon, I create a new file called upboarded.icon button. Inside this file, I add a class for the icon button with a styling similar to the Figma Design. Now I create a new file for a general app bar, and as you can see in the video, I add an app bar class similar to the design Figma Design in this file. Very well. Now I go to the screens folder and create a new screen for special offers. And then I'll start implementing this page. I place a scaffold widget, and at the general app bar, we created inside its app bar parameter. Also set in its title parameter. Now I return to the Home tab and write a method to navigate to the special offers class. I reload the project, navigate to this page, and as you can see, we need to adjust the app bar styling to match Figma. So I go to the temp file and perform the styling related to the app bar in this file. As you can see in the video, I set the background color and other required parameters. I refresh the project and return to the desired page. And you can see the styling has been successfully applied. Now let's implement the list for banners. I go to the special offers page and place the list view in the body. Then I import the required files and start implementing the items in the list. I place an inkwell widget and set its untap and border radius parameters. Then inside it, I place a clipArect widget and set its border radius as well. And inside it, I display the image related to the banners. I reload the project and you can see the final result of this page. Now let's implement the categories page. First, I create a new file for this page. I import the material package and add a stateless class with the same name as the file. Then I add a scaffold and appbar widget to it and set its padding to 0. Next, in the body parameter, I place a list of category titles and start implementing the item builder parameter. I place a column widget and set its cross-axis alignment to cross-axis alignment.start. Then inside it, I call the title widget we previously implemented. I place a size box, adjust its height, and place another list view inside it, and starting to implementing this list. I refer to the sample data file and add a list for category product image to it, then use this list. Now I set the scroll direction parameter to axis.horizontal and set the shrink wrap parameter to true. And then I start implementing the item builder parameter. Inside it, I place a container and set its height and width. Then style its decoration according to the Figma. Now I add margin from the top, left, and right. And place a column widget inside it and adjust the space between items. I also set its cross-axis alignment to center. Inside it, I place a size box widget and then display the product's image. Now I add the product title and style it. Next, I place a row widget and set its main axis alignment to space evenly. Inside it, I call the rating widget and display the product rating. And then show the number of reviews for the product. And finally, display the product price. Now I return to the home page and add the code to navigate to the page we just implemented. I reload the project and you can see the result. Now let's implement the remaining sections. In the general widgets folder, I create a widget for the products field buttons and add the required code to this file. I use the field button widget for this purpose and style it according to Figma. Very well, now I return to the previous class and call the new class I just created for the button and using it. I reload the project so you can see the result. Excellent. Now the only thing left to complete this page is the thumbnail next to the category titles. So I will start implementing this section. I go to the app title widget and add the code to display the image inside it. If the thumbnail path parameter is not empty, I will display it using the image.asset widget and set its dimensions according to the Figma design. I reload the project. And finally, I adjust the spacing between items. I reload the project again and you can see the final result. Thank you for watching, and if this video was helpful to you, please subscribe to my channel and like and share the video and hit the bell icon to get notifications for future videos. I will see you again in the next video.